An ancient creature with something like a built-in GPS has just stepped out of deep time, and it might change how we think about animal navigation forever. Ancient internal GPS revealed. Many animals, from migrating birds to sea turtles, seem to carry an invisible map and compass in their bodies, allowing them to sense Earth's magnetic field and travel across oceans and continents with astonishing accuracy. Scientists call this mysterious ability magnetoreception, and while it is widely accepted that a lot of species use it, the exact hardware and software behind it are still not fully understood. That gap in understanding is what makes a new discovery from a team at Cambridge University and Helmholtz-Zentrum Berlin so exciting and a little bit mind-bending. Magnetofossils from 97 million years ago. To investigate how magnetoreception evolved, researchers turned to the seafloor, where ancient sediments hold microscopic fossils that act like tiny magnetic time capsules. Inside those sediments, they identified so-called magnetofossils dating back roughly 97 million years, meaning these structures formed while dinosaurs still roamed the Earth and the oceans were full of now extinct creatures. The team found that these magnetofossils show properties consistent with magnetoreception, suggesting that some animals were already using Earth's magnetic field to navigate tens of millions of years before humans even existed. Rich Harrison from Cambridge's Department of Earth Sciences, one of the study's co-leaders, explained that whatever organism produced these magnetofossils was probably able to navigate with a high degree of precision. In other words, this was not just a creature drifting aimlessly with the currents, it likely knew where it was going and could follow long-distance routes using an internal magnetic sense. And this is the part most people miss. Magnetoreception isn't just a quirky extra sense, it may have been a central survival tool for ancient marine life. A powerful new way to look inside. To unlock the secrets of these fossils, the team used a relatively new approach based on magnetic tomography, a technique that allows scientists to visualize internal magnetic structures in 3 dimensions. Standard X-ray imaging could not penetrate or resolve the fine details inside the larger magnetofossils, so traditional methods were simply not enough to see how their internal magnetic machinery was arranged. But with magnetic tomography, researchers could finally peer inside and map the magnetic architecture at a nanoscale level. Claire Donnelly from the Max Planck Institute in Germany played a key role by developing and applying this advanced tomography method to the fossils. Because these fossil structures are much larger than the tiny magnetic particles used by magnetotactic bacteria, the team refers to them as giant magnetofossils to emphasize their unusual size. Donnelly highlighted that being able to map their internal magnetic layout was already a big achievement in itself, but realizing that the results provide a direct window into the navigation systems of creatures that lived millions of years ago is what makes the work truly thrilling. What the magnetic structure shows. The researchers carried out their measurements at the Diamond X-ray facility in Oxford, a cutting-edge laboratory designed for high-resolution studies of materials at very small scales. Using Donnelly's technique, they examined how tiny magnetic fields, generated by the spins of electrons inside the material, were arranged within each fossil. These microscopic magnetic patterns, sometimes described in terms of magnetic moments, can reveal whether a structure is well suited to act as a sensitive magnetic sensor. In the case of the giant magnetofossils, the configuration of magnetic moments strongly suggested that the structures were optimized for magnetoreception rather than just being random mineral deposits. That means these fossils likely formed inside animals that used them as part of a magnetic sensing system, much like an internal compass. One of the researchers, PhD student Jeffrey Nithirajan from Donnelly's lab, expressed excitement at seeing this method used on natural samples for the first time, showing that techniques originally developed for materials science can illuminate deep questions in biology and paleontology. But here's where it gets controversial. If we can infer behavior and sensory abilities from such tiny fossils, how far can we go in reconstructing the inner lives of long-extinct animals? The mystery of the unknown animal. Despite all the detail revealed about the fossils themselves, the identity of the creature that produced them remains a mystery. The team's findings indicate that these structures came from a migratory animal common enough in ancient oceans to leave behind large numbers of remains. That means we are not just talking about a rare oddity, but potentially a widespread species whose daily life depended on long-distance travel guided by Earth's magnetic field. Rich Harrison has suggested that eels might be a promising candidate, since they are known to be exceptional navigators today and are thought to have evolved roughly around the time frame in question. Modern eels undertake impressive migrations across global waterways, making them a natural fit for an internal magnetic navigation system. However, this is still speculative. The fossils do not come stamped with a species label, so other possibilities such as yet unknown or now extinct migratory fish or marine animals cannot be ruled out. And this is the part most people miss. The unknown creature might represent an entire group of animals whose existence and behavior we barely understand. Evolution of an internal compass. One of the most intriguing implications of this work is what it suggests about the evolution of magnetoreception itself. Giant magnetofossils appear to capture a crucial step in the transition from simple bacterial magnetic sensing to much more advanced, animal-level navigation systems that resemble a built-in GPS. Bacteria that align with Earth's magnetic field use small chains of magnetic particles to orient themselves, mainly to find favorable depths in water or sediment. Animals, on the other hand, may have repurposed and elaborated on this basic mechanism for global-scale migration. According to Harrison, these giant magnetofossils can be viewed as markers along that evolutionary path, showing how biological systems may have gradually moved from primitive magnetotactic behavior to sophisticated, long-range navigation strategies. This raises a bold question: if magnetoreception is this old and this widespread, should it be considered a hidden fundamental sense in the animal kingdom, on par with vision, hearing, or smell? Some might argue that the evidence is still too indirect, while others will see this as strong support for the idea that sensing Earth's magnetic field is a deeply rooted, almost universal biological ability. The study and the storyteller. The research detailing these discoveries was published in the journal Nature on October 20, underscoring the significance of the findings within the scientific community. Peer-reviewed publication in such a high-profile journal indicates that the methods, data, and interpretations have undergone rigorous scrutiny by other experts in the field. For anyone interested in evolutionary biology, geophysics, or animal behavior, this study offers a rare convergence of paleontology, physics, and sensory science. The article summarizing this work was written by freelance writer Julian Dossett, who lives in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Dossett mainly covers the rocket industry and space exploration, but also writes travel features for New Mexico Magazine, earning IRMA awards for travel writing in 2022 and 2024. Before freelancing, he worked as a staff writer at CNET, and he holds a BA in philosophy from Texas State University in San Marcos, obtained in 2011. A fun personal detail: he owns an extensive collection of 1960s SCIFI pulp magazines, which fits perfectly with his focus on space, technology, and imaginative storytelling. Your turn. What do you think? So now comes the big question: if animals developed magnetic navigation so early, how many modern species might be using a similar sense right under our noses without us realizing it? Do you think magnetoreception should be considered as fundamental as sight or hearing, or is the evidence still too uncertain to make that claim? And here's where it gets potentially controversial. Could some behaviors we attribute to instinct or mystery in animals, and maybe even in humans, actually be tied to subtle magnetic influences we barely understand yet? Share whether you agree or disagree in the comments. Is this discovery a small detail about an unknown ancient creature, or a clue that forces us to rethink how life on Earth has always found its way around our planet?